Yeah.
Let me know when we're good.
I will.
Welcome to Beyond Belief, the art of strange mentalism, with your host, Tommy Burnett. This week's special guest is Dorothy Dietrich. And now your host, Tommy Burnett.
Hey guys, and welcome back to Beyond Belief. I'm Tommy Burnett, and I'll be your host today. We have a great show lined up. My good friend Dorothy Dietrich and her partner Dick Brooks just stepped in. I see him in the museum. I'm glad you're both here. Let's bring you back. Let's bring you both out here, and we'll talk about Houdini and Séances. Hey guys, good to see you.
Great to see you guys.
Thanks for being here. Hey Dick, how you doing, my friend?
Hi. Hi.
Good to see you. Yeah, so before the show, you were showing me some really cool photos and busts and all Houdini stuff, incredible, and hopefully we'll be able to see some more of that. Um, but before, um, I mean, I gotta say, you are one of my favorite people in the whole world. And I've known you both since I was like 15 or so. Um, yeah, I was pretty young. And, we lost touch for a while. But then it was so good to catch up with you both again at,
Yeah, thank you, COVID.
yeah, well, yeah, thank you, COVID, and thank you, Mark Salem, because actually, I saw you both, we were sitting like two
Yeah,
feet
right.
away from each other, and it's just really incredible to be able to say you're my friend. Anyway, why don't you, if you don't mind, why don't you talk about the Houdini Museum a little bit? I know it's in Scranton, Pennsylvania, but
Yeah.
that's about all I know. So,
Well,
uh,
here's the thing. Okay. Hi, everybody.
hey,
Welcome to the Houdini Museum in Scranton, PA. It's, as you can see, this is just one part of the collection, and it just goes on and on. The This cabinet. Oh, this is one of our recent gift from a friend, which has a cutout of Houdini in a pumpkin, and it's incredible. Uh,
oh,
th- these are all the new things that happen. Even though Houdini's long gone, there are things that keep happening that keep coming up. Like, for instance, they came up with a product called Scratch Dini, where you can get the scratches out of your car. There's they had the collectors. Do you remember those? There were like these collectors cards, and you had to buy all of them or you didn't have anything. So it was.
yeah,
And currently, John Stirk has manufactured a playing card set, of Houdini. That is the proceeds of that goes to the Houdini Museum. So thank you to him. And if you
Yep.
see him with his cards, that's what that project is for.
Wow.
And there's a Houdini lock. I mean, not a lock, a bottle opener. There's
Oh,
Hair They came out with Hair
yeah,
for
gee.
$9.99,
Oh, I
and
remember that.
and it was so
Yeah,
successful that
yeah.
they came out with the Braidini for 14.99.
Wow.
And then they had the Houdini bobblehead. And
Mm-hmm.
in 2001, they came out with a Houdini stamp.
Yep.
And it was so successful and so well received, and everybody wanted it. So they kept, remanufacturing them. They also came out with it is a magical stamp that if you buy that stamp decoder, it puts chains on Houdini's chest.
Oh, wow.
Okay. And I don't know if you can see it.
Uh,
You can
let
probably just see it wiggling a little bit.
let me get rid of me for a second. Go ahead and
Yeah.
do that again.
Oh, okay.
Yeah. Yeah, a little bit. Yeah, a little bit. Yeah. All right.
Yeah. And the sad thing about that is that stamp decoder, as soon as they put the Houdini stamp out, they stopped manufacturing the decoders.
Oh, wow.
So
Hmm.
if you're looking around for things to buy, make sure you check for the stamp decoder. They don't go for a lot of money, but if you don't have it, you can't get that special effect from the stamp.
Mm-hmm.
And but the Houdini bobblehead was very popular as well. Then during his life, they had Houdini Escape Stout, they had Houdini Lager,
Yeah.
Houdini Draft, lots of products on Houdini. That was the Rail Riders Magic Night. That was the local baseball team,
Oh,
and they had me throw out the first pitch. And oddly, this is the collectible that they made for everybody that came to the game, and it's a straight jacket laying on all the
oh.
people that got it in the stadium said, "What the heck is it?"
Yeah.
They should have asked me. I just put out a little statue of Houdini. That would have been just as hard,
Yeah.
but
Funny.
anyway, and then Standard Brewery challenged Houdini here in Scranton, PA, to get out of a barrel of true age beer, which he
Mm-hmm.
did in 1915. The thing about that is he didn't want to do it because he had stopped doing the beer challenges.
Right.
That see that prayer shawl inside the cabinet?
Yeah.
That
Mm-hmm.
was from Houdini's house. That one as well. Those were probably
Oh, wow.
covering the Torah.
Right.
There's
Yeah.
another uh, artifact here. That shawl, that prayer shawl, was his father's,
Oh, wow.
and yeah, this that gooey looking thing on top of the cabinet, that is the mold that made the bust that we used to um, um, replace the bust at Houdini's gravesite. Which,
Wow.
if you haven't been able to be there, it looks very much like that, but
Yeah.
without the special effects.
Right.
And so it's a pretty wonderful collection. Anybody that comes is very impressed. We also have the Magic Theater,
Mhm.
which is in the other room, and then the history room, which takes you from the very beginning of his life as a child all the way into the end of his life. The funny thing is, a lot of people don't even know that Houdini was in the movies, but he actually starred in 5 films.
Right.
And one of those films was a serial. So that was 14 parts in the serial. So he actually starred in that many more films as well. And he was really good. If anybody has a magic event that you have going on and you want to put on a really wonderful experience for the guests, have us come and show the Houdini movie, The Grim Game. It's spectacular. It shows every magician can be proud of him for that because he not only let's see here, not only was he in the film, but any of the films that he was in, let's see, there's the Grimm Game. His name is bigger than the title of the movies.
Yeah.
And so these are some of the films here. Master Mystery. He has a star on the Hollywood Walk of Fame. I talked with Johnny, the guy that created the Walk of Fame,
Hmm.
and I said, "What is the story? Because you constantly have new stars on the Walk of Fame." He said, "Well, they don't last forever." He said, "But there's several that will last forever." And I don't remember the whole list, but he said Houdini's will never be taken away. Everybody, when they come to the area, they want to know where's the Houdini one. But he had in the film, he had the first mid-air plane crash in a film, the first submarine in a film, the first robot in a film. Pretty cool. That was a very cool concept.
Yeah. Yeah.
And he even started his own Houdini Picture Corporation, thinking that he would have more power in the film industry if he had his own company.
Hmm.
And it turns out the movie companies were buying up all of the vaudeville theaters. And so if you did not own the theater, you were not going to get your film played in that theater. So that was later considered a monopoly. And here he is in vaudeville, and you'll notice that there's a lot of people in the show, but his name is highlighted because he's the guy that's going to draw the crowd.
Right. Wow.
All these outdoor events that he did. That's an adorable poster from Master Mystery. But
Hmm.
here in Pittsburgh, 20,000 people came to see him do the straitjacket escape.
Wow.
20,000. Okay, that's without, if there's any kiddos in the room, that's before internet, before cell phones. And here in Providence, Rhode Island, 80,000 people came to see him do a straitjacket escape. That's him over here where the arrow is. But look
Wow.
at the crowds and look at how they're dressed. I don't know if you can see it. They're all very, very well dressed. Everybody's
Yeah.
wearing
Yeah.
lovely attire. Even the youngsters. Look at these guys. Everybody looked fabulous. But he was the first person to fly a plane in Australia.
Mm. Right.
That was probably one of the most dangerous things he did in his whole life. And that's a bust that I made as well.
Oh, wow.
So, but that's the poster from the end of his life, which he had a red-tailed hawk in the show, which he named Abe Lincoln. And if you go to the internet, if you go to YouTube
Hmm.
and type in Houdini grave site hawk, you're going to find a video of us there with Steve Santini from Canada. He's an escape artist from Canada. Genius. He had put together a documentary called Deals from the Dark Side, which got him to travel the world going to dark places. So he went to old prisons and old museums and stuff that highlighted the crazy in our world. Like the Iron Maiden, where they put the person in the cabinet with knives going into their
Right.
face,
Right.
and the rack and all that. So Steve said, you've got some pretty crazy stuff at your place. And I said, yeah, we do. This is the what do you call it? Forget what we call that.
Hillary. Hillary.
Yeah, pillory. Yeah, yeah.
Yeah. Yeah.
But
Yeah.
there's a lot of crazy stuff here.
Yeah.
So he said he wanted to come in August and the end of August, and I said, well, we have a project that we're doing, but I don't think I want to change the date of it because we have 10 volunteers that are locked in and they're saving that date. And I think it might be bad karma to change anything. So when you come, we can do a run through with your camera people, like
Mm-hmm.
we're doing the real thing, but it's just going to be a facsimile of what it's going to be. And
Mm-hmm.
so when they came, we went to the Houdini gravesite, and that was when we snuck into the gravesite because Dick and I had asked for many years as kids, what's going on with the gravesite? Why don't we replace Houdini's bust? And all the elders would say, oh, they're going to just, the vandals are going to break it again. Yeah, you're wasting your money. Don't even think about it. So then we got older. Shut up. Shut up. And so we decided, you know what, if we don't do it, it's not ever going to happen. Not at all, ever. Maybe ever, ever, never. And so we said, all right, how are we going to do it? We didn't have a copy of a bust, but we did have a bust on display at the library of the city of New York.
Okay.
And so we went with camera, took pictures, measure. And then I went to Allentown where they have a wonderful art school and spent several weeks there learning how to do sculpting. And that's what I did. I learned how to make them sculpt the bust and then make the mold for the bust and then
Mm.
produce it for the gravesite. There are a lot of cool stories about that. But when we went there with Steve and his crew, as soon as we put the bust on the monument, and you're going to freak out when you watch it. Soon as we put the bus there and stepped back to look at it, a red-tailed hawk flew in from somewhere, I don't know where, and landed on one of the tall monuments right behind where we were standing. And
Wow.
like, oh, whoa, we like, all right, have you ever had a bird of prey show up and hang out with you at a party in the yard? And so it was freakish, and honestly, it took my breath away, and I didn't even know what to think. But he hung out and hung out. You can see the video online how long it actually hung out with us. So it was up high and away from us, but then flew down and flew like maybe 10 feet away from us and just hung out on the ground, like hanging out. How you
Yeah.
doing? And I said, if you're Houdini, holy cow, man, thank you for coming over. And I don't know. Here's the thing, we want to talk about the seances
Yeah.
and what Houdini found out. Oh, I forgot. I'm going to run and get this other
Okay.
artifact because it's
Yeah.
special, very special.
Yeah. But I kept meaning to come out to Renton to visit. I have to do that. I'm trying to do that before the end of the summer.
So this was very early on. Let's see if I can get you to see it. This is the whole thing. Oh, what a great artifact this is because it
Wow.
has so much in it. Um, on the top there, it says Professor Harry Houdini, the great mystifier. Now, remember, he left home at 12 years old, so he was not a professor, but
Yeah.
he
Yeah.
professed that he was a professor. So maybe that qualifies. But it says, assisted by Mademoiselle Beatrice Houdini, the psychometric, let's see, the celebrated psychometric clairvoyant. Spiritual forms materialize, tables and musical instruments float in midair when conditions are favorable. Messages received from dead and departed friends. And so that was a show that he put together that was from 1897, 1898. And at the end of the show, people would come up to him and say, oh, my mom is gone and I never got to say goodbye. I want to talk to her. Can you please get me a message from my mother? Okay, he was freaked out because he's just doing a show. He
Right.
didn't know that there's like, what is this other thing? And that was what introduced him to the masses of humans that wanted to believe, that did believe that they were real because they were claiming that they were real. And the
Yeah.
thing that the one thing that's real important to impress people with is that um, they wouldn't just get a few dollars and they're gone. They would tell people, they would confide in them and get their confidence in them to the point that finally, at one point, they'd say, well, when you pass away, I can get you in heaven with your loved one. All you have to do is bequeath your inheritance to me.
Mhm. Yeah.
Okay. Well, Houdini didn't know that. And when he found that out, that set him on a rage because
Yeah.
he wanted to make sure he found out that probably 90% of the population genuinely believed because they needed it to be real. because a lot of people were dropping dead, suddenly. We had the
Right.
flu pandemic of 1918, world wars kills a lot of people and displaces a lot of people. So you never get back together with your family again, and then they're gone. So yeah, he spent his whole life exposing these people. In fact, in his book, The Right Way to Do Wrong, that was one of
Yeah.
the things that he would expose. And trying to see here. It's everything about it. Like, okay, let me see. I probably should reproduce a lot of this stuff and put it online so it's accessible, because it's amazing what he wanted the world to know. And he had in this book, he exposes a lot of things: the income of a criminal, professional burglary, difficulties of burglary superstitions, thieves and their tricks, the aristocrat of thievery, pickpockets at work, beggars and deadbeats, the begging letter swindle. We still have that today, the begging letter swindle, where somebody's got a charity and you give money and you find out that it was a fake.
Yeah.
Um, let's see here. Tricks of bunco men, the game of wits, fake, bogus treasures, famous swindles, the fair criminal, the brace game. I don't know. I got to look that up. Cheating Uncle Sam, humbugs, and then a little bit about himself and the conclusion. And in this book, he exposes um, something that was going on that was really bad. Gambling, people that would gamble were being cheated with an apparatus called the holdout device. There it is. And it is a gambling cheating device that
Mm-hmm.
attaches the box that holds the playing cards attaches to your wrist. The strap goes down the arm, and strap goes around your waist, and the cards come in and out. So, youngsters, if you are around today and you'd like to cheat at Uno, that would work. The really cool thing here is that in this cabinet, you see that vest?
Mm-hmm.
That was Houdini's, and he would do a card trick and have someone select a card and then put the packet of cards in the bottom pocket, and then have the chosen cards rise out of the top pocket. But then
Wow.
he would open up the jack and explain that that's a cheating device. So
Mm-hmm.
don't get taken in. He then wrote that article for the Metropolitan newspaper of New York, where he explains the holdout exactly. Can you see it pretty good there?
Yeah. Wow.
Because he really didn't want people to be snookered. And he realized that
Right.
a lot of cheats were using magic effects and theater effects to con people. And
Yeah.
that wasn't okay. I mean, magicians, yeah, we're conning people, but we're telling them we're conning you.
Yeah. Yeah.
um,
Oh.
and it's not a con, it's entertainment. So in his, this was his souvenir program that he sold at the end of his life.
Mm-hmm.
And this one is sold for 25 cents. Now he was pretty bold because ticket prices were 25 cents. So the souvenir program was another ticket price.
Wow.
But back then you could buy 4 pounds of meat for 25 cents. So 25 cents went a long way.
Yeah.
And,
Yeah.
and he was making really good money. He worked really hard to get to that point, but he honestly was making a lot of money. Now, in the back, it has a challenge to the mediums. And in this one, it's a $10,000 challenge. It says, I, the undersigned, hereby and herewith agree to wager any sum up to $10,000 against an equal amount, the money to be donated to a charity. If any spiritualist will produce a medium presenting any so-called physical manifestation that I cannot reproduce or explain as being accomplished by natural means, In other words, they faked it. They just did a trick, a magic trick,
Mm-hmm.
and or theatrical effect, and claim that they have supernatural powers.
Right.
I stipulate that the medium must present the manifestation 3 times in my presence intermittently, and if any apparatus or contrivances are used, I shall be allowed simple time in which to construct them. So he would reproduce the gizmo that they were working on,
Mm-hmm.
and show the audience. The committee of judges to consist of clergymen, 6 clergymen, 6 newspapermen, and 6 magicians. Any Hey, we should find out who those 6 magicians are,
Mm.
right? I
Yeah.
gotta, I gotta talk to a few people. That's fun. Any contender must give 24 hours notice so that committee may be selected, full arrangements made, and all proper conditions, requirements, and other incidentals may be mutually agreed upon and provided for. Signed, Houdini.
Wow.
And he um, he worked with this woman. Her name was Rose Mackenberg.
Mm-hmm.
And look at how adorable. She would dress up as a grieving widow, um, and set up. Can you see that pretty good?
Yeah.
She would set up seances with these fake mediums, and then go as the grieving widow, etc. And this is crazy stuff. And then she would report to Houdini what kinds of gizmos and gadgets that she thought they were using. And then Houdini would go he would go and set up a seance, not as Houdini, as Fred Schwartz or you name it. He would come up with a fake name.
Oh,
And he doesn't he look like George Burns?
he does. Wow.
It's pretty funny. And so he would go and then bring a detective with him. He'd say, "This is my brother," and go with the detective. And at the end of the seance, would expose all of the things that he thought was going on. And sadly, the good news is that the detectives would go with him. The sad thing is, they would just have them run out of town. They wouldn't put them in jail, put them in prison, have them serve time, because Houdini thought if he could get to that point, they're going to stop doing it. Nobody wants to spend a life in
Yeah.
prison. And so he could not get it to that point. And I would love to talk to him today about that, to see what he thinks could be done now, even, because
Yeah.
the spiritualist religion still exists today. Are they charlatans that are doing seances? Typically, not necessarily. Um, he also he met Sir Arthur Conan Doyle, who
Mhm.
was, oh man, a very creative guy, the writer of the Sherlock Holmes series.
Yeah.
And he was a true believer in the mediums because his son died suddenly. He never got to say goodbye to him. He was miserably lonely, and he wanted these things. As soon as he heard there was somebody that could communicate with the dead, he was all on it. Why not?
Mhm.
And so there were many of these people that had really abused him and made him think that they were really getting messages from him, from their loved one. And so Houdini tried to convince Conan Doyle. There's a play going on right now. I don't know if it ended or not. There might be one tonight at the House of Magic in Philadelphia. And that's with Patrick Terry
Oh
and
yeah. Yeah.
his partner.
Mhm.
And that's a fun play. And they go back and forth about, like Houdini says, because Conan Doyle was just like a little girl when it comes to believing. He wanted just it's. I know it's that was right in front of me. I saw them doing it, and the table moved, and there was nothing there, and and so he was like that true believer person, which is
Yeah.
all over the world. We still have millions of those people that
Yeah.
need it to be real, because I mean, when my mom died, I wanted it to be real for sure, sure.
Mhm.
I'm not saying it's not real, and Houdini
Yeah.
never said it was not real.
Yeah.
because I will tell you, we have had in the last many years, for instance, on the 50th anniversary of Houdini's death,
Mm-hmm.
we had quite the celebrity group there. We had Milburn Christopher.
Oh,
Okay,
wow.
he was there, and if you don't know Milburn, he was a very respected person, and he was very stern. And when he's the kind of person, when everybody's just having a ball at some event, and he shows up, everybody all of a sudden gets better posture. Milburn's here, that kind of thing. Like, straighten up, let's behave.
Right, right.
And so he said to me on the 50th anniversary at the Magic Townhouse, he said, "Now listen here, young woman, I want you to know that there better not be any kind of trickery or phoniness going on for this seance, because I cannot be a part of it." I said, "You're right. I cannot be a part of that either. You can relax." Okay, so now we had the buffet table set up with lots of food, and he died at 1:26, so we would have everybody move over at 1 o'clock, so I could tell a little bit of history, and then at 1:26 have the moment of silence for the seance.
Mm-hmm.
Well, by the way, before that, the seance was being done by Houdini's wife for the first 10 years. And then she realized that she better keep it going, because she kept getting contacted by all of these many, many, many people claiming, "I'm talking to your husband. He's with me. He's with me. I want you to," because they all wanted to get credit for being the one that's
Right.
communicating with Houdini. And she was like, sure that they were all fake and phonies. So she asked Walter Gibson, who was a personal friend of theirs, to help her out with that. So
Mm.
he did the seances in New York. I don't know all the different places. I should have gotten a list of all the places that he did it. I think mostly he did it. It didn't have to be like, Houdini did not want it to be a show. He didn't want to charge admission and you'd have a million people there. He wanted true-hearted people to be seriously trying to communicate with somebody he cared about. And so our whole time with Walter, he never had more than a few people, in the seance. It'd be enough, maybe like 20 people, at the most. But the people that he really cared about at the table. So Walter was there that day. Oh, I have a picture of those two and me together. Um, and I miss them. They were very different humans, and life was different back in those days in the 70s and 80s. And I just feel so privileged that we really got to personally know some of these characters in our industry. And
Yeah.
so there we are at the townhouse. I had the talked about the seance and everything and why we do it. And then I said, and the thing about um, the seances, that we try to get some kind of feedback from Houdini. And I explained to them that there are a lot of things that happened after he died. Books have been written and people write things, and there's even a movie that was produced by Paramount Pictures, and it highlighted Tony Curtis as a star, and he was
Mm.
really great in the film. The film is a wonderful film. Everybody should see it, but know that you're not learning anything about Houdini
Right.
other than how to spell his name.
Yeah.
And because it was totally made up,
Yeah.
and it was crazy. But there was so many giggles throughout the film. Like, for instance, there's the young Houdini on a slab, and there's this big saw behind him, and the announcer, the pitchman, says, "Let's give the lad a moment of silent prayer before he attempts to do the." And then the camera, they just keep going. Like, they didn't even give him a moment. It was like 2 seconds. And so it was things like that. But they claimed in that film that Houdini died doing the water torture cell.
Right.
Well,
Mm.
we had the poster of that um, effect that Houdini did
Yeah.
hanging about 20 feet away from where everybody was. There was nobody over there. It's just hanging on the wall. And when I talked about that and then had the moment of silence, sure enough, that picture fell from the wall, smashed. And
Wow.
so Milburn, he went, he like jumped up like how
Yeah.
dare you? I just told you I don't want you to. And I
Yeah.
said, you no, okay, everybody stay right where you are. Milburn, you go
Yeah.
and you tell us what happened. I don't know what happened.
Yeah.
You tell us what happened. And so at that point he said, so what do you after everybody went, he said, so what do you think happened? I said, I don't know. I don't know. Was it a sign from Houdini? I trust your heart and your brain. I want to know, is it possible? He felt that it could be possible that you could communicate with the beyond. Just the
Mhm.
problem was that they had so many scammers that were doing it and claiming
Yeah.
that it was real. So,
Yeah.
so magicians are very skeptical, and I am too. But I will say, I cannot explain how that picture fell from the wall. And that same thing has fallen several times at several seances.
Mm.
So, what's that about?
Yeah.
I don't know. But he also wrote this book. Houdini wrote this book called
Oh,
Houdini, Magician Among the Spirits,
yeah.
300-page book. And this was a very special time for us. Dick and I had heard about this auction, and they had a book of Houdini that was autographed. And it was this book. And that was special to us because that's very special to him. That,
Yeah.
I mean, 300 pages. He really wanted to expose these people. And so we went to the auction. And okay, every time you go to a magic auction, there are people like you and me. And then there's also people that are not magicians, but they have boatloads of money and they want that thing for their library, you know.
Right. Yeah.
And so
Yeah.
the price is going up and it's going up and going up. And Dick says to me, I don't think we're going to get it. I said, I think you might be right. I said, but I really want this thing. I don't think it makes sense for somebody to have that in their house. Who's going to see it?
Right.
Who's going to, I want everybody to see it because the autograph says, my brain is the key that sets me free.
Right.
Signed
Yeah.
Houdini.
A
And
famous. Yeah.
wow, it blew me
Yeah.
away. So I said, you know what? We're likely not going to get it. So I just stood up in front of the crowd and I said, okay, everybody, please forgive me for this, but I know everybody wants this book. We can't all have it, but I want you to know that that particular autograph should be shared with the world, not with a few people in somebody's private library. It really, honestly, should be shared. It should be seen at a library, at a museum, so that everybody going by says, "Holy hell, look at that! What Houdini said." So, if you let us get this, you can borrow it. We'll let you borrow it. You can show all your friends and say, "Yeah, this is on loan from the Houdini people." All right, and um, but we will make sure that everybody gets to see that. We have it all over the place. I have a really beautiful, I don't know if you see that blow up way up high.
Oh yeah. It's a little high, but yeah. Okay.
And but it's very visible when you're in the
Yeah.
museum.
Yeah.
And
Yeah.
and then where
Yeah.
did I put it? And then Dick created this postcard.
Hmm.
How cool is that?
That's very cool.
So anytime we get a group of grade school or high school kids or college people, they go home with that postcard. And I tell them, you that is not just a postcard. That's not a silly souvenir. That's something that could change your life. You stick that on your wall and you keep it there. And when you go to college, you stick that on the wall of college. And when things get tough, you just use your brain. It's okay. Because you know what? A lot of times you'll ask people for help. They don't know what's in your heart. You know what's in your heart.
Yeah.
But life is a zigzag. And if it gets tough, it just, you've got this plan and it ends right there. Well, it's not ended. You just give it up for a few minutes, think of another project and keep going. And you might be able to go back to that original one or maybe not. But your life will just keep zigzagging and expect that that's going to happen and you'll know how to deal with it. But use your brain. And so teachers are thrilled that the kids get that. And I'm thrilled that we're able to pass that on. So now, trying to think on the 75th anniversary of his séance, this picture had a part in that one, When we went to um, we did the seances in several places over the years. We did it at the Sojourn Restaurant, which is on, I think, 76th Street in New York City. That's the apartment building that Houdini first lived in. It was a boarding house that
Right.
Houdini and his father lived. So he likely, that room was just a meeting room. And it's likely that Houdini might have even practiced his magic while he was there,
Hmm.
staying there. Uh, but the seances have been, we take it very seriously, and we don't want trickery to happen. But in
Hmm.
the meantime, I don't know if you saw it, because the SAM has been allowing us to use their 500 people Zoom room.
Yeah. Yeah.
And I think they record all those so that you can go back and look at it.
Yeah.
Um, and we've had some crazy things happen. And I found that the one thing that seems to work is that I asked Houdini um, to show me what would look like yes, like on a pendulum. Show me what yes looks like if it does this or this, and then I'll ask him a yes or no question. Now, a lot of people are suspicious of the pendulums because they say that's what do they call it,
Yeah.
automatic. Yeah, it's like you're
Yeah.
telling it
Yeah.
what to do. You don't know you're doing it, but
Right.
your heart and soul can make it happen.
Yeah. Uh,
And so
idiomotor.
maybe a motor
Yeah.
effect.
Yeah. Yeah.
And so, is that part? Actually, I don't know, but we have asked a lot of yes and no questions, and the answer is accurate. Now, one of the seances, which we did on Zoom, this was crazy because we had I don't think we had over 200 people on Zoom, plus the people that were in person at the seance. And somebody mentioned Leopold, which is Houdini's brother, who had a rift with because he ended up dating his other brother's gal. Okay, that's not okay.
Wow.
Houdini was furious with him about
Yeah.
that.
Yeah.
So the person in the Zoom room said, talk about Leopold. And when that happened, then the something slammed on the table, like vamp. And I went, holy shoot. And I don't, and then one time um we had it on the computer. I'm on the cell phone right now, but we had it on the
Right.
laptop. And as soon as, I think that was Leo was mentioned at that time, I'm not sure, but as soon as the one thing happened, the computer, you could hear boom, boom, boom on the outside wall on the one side of the room where we were at, like three bangs. And then the computer crashed, like dead, and didn't just die. The power went out. It just sucked the battery right out of it. And so it took us a few minutes to get it plugged in, replug it and try and get it kick a poo going. And what that was, I don't know. But that never happened again. But a lot of these things that happen, it's like a one shot.
Yeah.
And then we did a seance at a friend's house in New York. I said, why do we have to wait till Halloween to do the seance? Houdini is, if he's around, he's around.
Wow.
So
Yeah.
do you want to try? And so we did. And I had brought a whole bunch of things to New York. It was in Brooklyn. And so during the seance, I showed Houdini that we have this, we have that. I showed him all the things, and we have it on video.
Mhm.
So I don't know what to do with all those videos, that whether we should put together a documentary or something with all
That
these
was,
different happenings.
that
So if you have
was,
any ideas, I'd be happy to let the world see that stuff.
yeah.
Uh, but at that house, now my friend said, I want my tambourine on the table because I don't want, then I can tell everybody that was mine. That wasn't theirs. It wasn't a gimmick. It wasn't. So he
Mhm.
put his tambourine right in the top. And where is it? This is the candelabra
Mhm.
that Walter Gibson gave us, that he said was done at all of the seances.
Wow.
And
Okay.
I have it on a tall pedestal now because when you're doing the seance, if the candle is that in that the view of your faces, it kind of blocks the images of whatever's on the table. So that's kind of elevated. So it's up there, not down here where the action's taking place. Um, and there's just so many things that happened at my friend's house. I had set it up so that the candelabra was in the middle, and I had a few things leaning on that, some on the back, some on the front, and then had an easel with an artifact on it, and then something leaning it against that. And I explained to Houdini that we're going to use yes and no. If the answer to us is yes, you move the object forward. If it's no, move the object backward. And I had another artifact that was um, a photograph that was rare, and I didn't want to take it with me, so I had it copied and laminated. So I put the laminated picture in right in the middle of the table, and when I asked a yes or no question, that picture just went like it didn't go back or forth. It went like this.
Right. Yeah.
The whole thing was flippity, and I was like, "What the freak?" We all looked at each other like, "Okay." Like, how do you even, you can't even do that as a trick. You'd have to
Right.
grab the corner and
Yeah.
go booga booga, you know, which seems
Wow.
like that's, if you were able to do that as a spirit, that's pretty cool. So I don't
Yeah.
know if anybody has ideas that of what I'm missing out on, because we've dealt with a lot of, like, we've exposed at least five spiritualists that
Hmm.
claim to be getting in contact with Houdini, and they're
Hmm.
all baloney, baloney.
Yeah.
Um,
Yeah.
and sadly, the one, Kim Dennis from Canada, she had the Houdini family, part of the family, convinced that she had powers.
Hmm.
And the granddaughter, Jeff's mom, Marie Blood, she said she was in touch with his mother and and of course the daughter's grandmother, and
Hmm.
she couldn't wait to hear from grandma. And I felt so bad because she came with her hand in her heart in her hand, hoping that she's going to communicate with her grandmother. And the woman was so bad. I mean, she wasn't even kind of good, and she did no research on Houdini or on Marie Blood. It's out there. You can find this stuff.
Yeah. Yeah.
And so um, sadly, the granddaughter was didn't get in touch with her grandmother.
Mm.
Um, and we exposed her, but it didn't matter. She's in Canada, and she's still
Right.
working. She had
Yeah.
a show that where she could tell you what your pets are thinking.
Hmm. Hmm.
That's a good one.
Yeah.
So if you ever out of projects, you could do that one. Talk to people's pets.
I've thought about it. um.
I'm trying to think of what else. Oh, so Houdini, like I said, was passionate about the whole thing and trying to find out where's the real one. Oh, in this book, I'm going to paraphrase it because it's a lengthy introduction, but he says this is not a study of a few days or weeks or months, but one that has spanned over 30 years. And in that
Mm.
time, I have not found any case that savored of the genuine. And then he goes on to say that he did find some people that claimed to have communication, but but it mostly was they were guessing, 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 and then they'd catch, and then guessing, guessing, and match. And like he said, they weren't bad hearts. They were just people, and they weren't charging money for it. They were
Right.
just trying to make people feel good about
Right.
their loved one in heaven. And so they were not scammers, but he called them people with deluded brains. They really thought they had some powers
Yeah. Yeah.
that he couldn't picture it as being anything other than trying hard enough and long
Right.
enough to make something click. So
Right.
in 1926, the spring of 26, Houdini went to Congress asking to have a law passed not allowing them to make the claims that they were making. And unfortunately, Houdini did not win the case because the mediums claimed that they were a religion, the spiritualist religion, which still
Right.
exists today. Now,
Yeah.
is it the same as the scammers? I would say there might be some and some, you know, but
Yeah.
A lot of
I,
magicians are,
I've met a couple.
yeah.
Yeah, I've
And
met a couple that I think, you know, believe what they were doing.
yeah. And there's
Oh, wow.
a book that came out about Houdini and Conan Doyle. And actually they
Mhm.
had two editions of it. One's bigger than the other one. Um,
Okay.
so yeah, these guys. And so you can read about that. And it's really sad about Conan Doyle because those guys had so much in common because of their creativity. You know, I mean, Conan Doyle was a genius with the books that he wrote. You know, how he came up with all that material is amazing. And of course, Houdini's creativity was unbelievable.
Yeah.
So I had a thought and I lost it. He met this guy. Do you remember this guy's name? This was a guy that claimed that he had spirit communications and blah blah blah, and he would even tie himself up and escape because the spirits let him out.
Oh,
And so, if you notice, he has paintings in this picture, and he
yeah.
called them spirit paintings.
Oh, wow. Okay. Yeah.
And they're pretty great. We saw several of them go up for sale, and we bought two of them. I actually feel bad because I we should have bought a few more because they're actually pretty good. I can Let me see if I can get to where one of them is.
Okay.
Can you see that up there? Let's
Oh,
see.
yeah. The one above the AC. Yeah. Well,
And they're actually pretty beautiful, really.
yeah.
But each one is totally unique.
Wow.
And so, yeah, he would, there he is. Had himself tied up and he could escape. And there's Houdini with him playing around. So Houdini probably got a few giggles from that guy because he wasn't as evil as most, you
Right.
know.
Right.
I think he, in a way, felt more like an entertainer than a scammer. Oh,
Yeah.
did you guys know about Houdiniopoly?
Yeah, I was going to mention that. I actually have one.
Let's see. Is
I
it? There it
actually have
is. Ta-da!
one.
And that was fun. That was a fun project to work on. We took 2 years to put it
Mm-hmm.
together. We said, "Was no hurry." We had a guy come up to us who had done like these local people that sells T-shirts and mugs and all that kind of thing. He says you could produce a Houdiniopoly game that people would love, and he was ready to slam one together, just the whiteboard with the colored boxes, and
Right.
you put
Right.
local ads on it. And
Yeah.
I I right away got an ick feeling about it. And I said,
Yeah.
no, that's not a Monopoly game. That's a
Right.
sales pitch.
Yeah. Yeah.
So we said, why not make it real and have it like it's
Yeah.
all Houdini fun facts about Houdini.
Yeah. The board is incredible.
And
Yeah.
it's all history. Total. Oh, look at you. You had there's
Yeah.
the images
Yeah.
on the sides.
Yeah.
The
It's very cool. I
so
haven't found anybody to want to play it with me,
I
but
know Monopoly. The thing is, when you say Monopoly, everybody goes, "Yeah, well, that's a lot of time," because it does
I,
go on.
I haven't actually opened anything either. It's
Uh-huh.
still,
So,
yeah.
oh, come on, you guys. Tommy wants to play.
Oh, play!
So, on the back of that box is all the sponsors, the people that donated to make it happen. So we did a Kickstarter. Oh, here's an information that is helpful. Anybody that wants to do a Kickstarter, um, and you want to sell a product, like look at all those sponsors. That was wonderful.
Yeah,
We had put a goal of $8,000 because we
mhm,
thought we didn't know how much it was going to cost. I think it would have cost 10,000 to publish it. You know, at least to get started with publishing it. And so we did it limited edition. Everybody said limited edition, blah blah blah. So now we got 14,000 in donations. And so then, of course, now bingo, we can produce it, and we get contacted by Amazon, who
Mm-hmm.
said that they would like to sell it on Amazon. They said, "How many did you manufacture?" And I said, "What was it, 1,000? I think 1,000." And they said, "Oh, that's not enough. No, we can't do anything with that." And I said, "I don't know what to do because it's a limited edition." So what you can do is redo it, but change some of the stories about it, change some of the concepts. And it's
Mm-hmm.
another edition, but it's not the original limited edition. So that, if I ever have time enough to do that, that would be something to work on. But that's just information for anybody else that has a product that you'd like to do limited edition. It may not be a good idea, just because if it's good enough for Amazon, they're not going to be able to deal with you.
Right.
So that's sad, because they would have made us real money for that.
Yeah. Yeah.
So the seance, um, it is continued, and we take it very seriously. It's
Mm-hmm.
To us, it's not a joke. It is a real thing. And can Houdini come back with messages? I don't know. What happens at the seances are a lot of crazy different things. And the one seance that we did, I think about 4 years ago, we did it here, and backstage on the stage behind us, we had the table in front of the stage. And then on the stage behind us, we had some artifacts there. And I had a table with the pendulum that is made from the wood from Houdini's home that Barry Spector made for us. And I asked him if he had any of those square nails, those old-fashioned square nails from the house. He said, "Yeah, we do." So I said, "Okay, I want you to nail that into a piece of the wood and trim that into a pendulum, and then another different piece of wood for the bead that you hold it with." So I put that on top of the table on a holder. So it was hanging suspended, and I put a glass dome over it. So there was no strings or no way anybody could get to it. Um, and everybody in the crowd, it was behind us, so I wasn't even watching it. But everybody that came to the seance said that thing was wiggling the whole time, was reacting the whole time.
Uh,
And so, does anybody have questions about the seance?
yeah. Anybody here have any questions? No.
It's
Somebody.
really it's real important to know that Houdini's intention was not to have it a show. It was not to be a show. There's no admission was charged ever for any of Houdini's seances. It was a gathering trying to communicate with friends. That's all it was. It wasn't supposed to be, "Oh, it's $150 per ticket. And if you want a special blah, 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 it's more and blah, blah, blah." No, he didn't want it to be show business. He wanted it to be, let's try to communicate with each other. And while he was still alive, he was trying to communicate with friends um, that had passed away. And it would be cool to communicate with your pals. Let's figure it out. If anybody has any ideas, I don't know. Let me know.
Yeah. Well, I actually have a uh, couple questions. And I don't know if you know the answer, but there's a famous photo of the seance with Beth, and then there's a guy standing next to her with a bald head and a kind of a long beard. Who was that guy? Yeah, the guy on the left. Who was that guy?
Edward Saint, and that's Hardin on the other side.
Right, yeah, I know, yeah. Huh,
I got a fun. You ready for a little bit of creepy
yeah,
creep?
yeah.
I got a call from somebody who said, "Hey, would you like to have a death mask of Edward Saint?"
Oh, wow.
And I said, "Who wouldn't?" So
Yeah, right?
he nailed that. That is Edward Saint's death mask. How
that's,
creepy is that?
that's amazing.
And then that's wood. see, that block is wood from Houdini's home, which was made by Barry Spector. And that was, we went to visit the House of Magic with Mark D'Souza, and he showed me he has a wooden block, with the hole in it. I forget what
Yeah,
they call that.
yeah.
And I said, "Oh my God, I do that trick. I love that. Can I get one?" And he said, "No, no, you can't, because that's the only one in the world."
Yeah.
And I told him, "You cannot make anybody else that block." I said, "Yeah, but it's for me though." he said, he said, "I know, but no." I told him I wanted to be the only one, and I said, "I know it would be the only one that you have." But guess what? Mark had him make another one. So his is the big one, mine is the little one. And that makes sense.
Yeah. Wow. My other question is, I never knew until I was looking at Fantasma, um, that Houdini had so many siblings. Um, and you mentioned one,
Yeah,
and
Leopold.
yeah, Leopold, and there was
Gladys and Nathan,
yeah,
um, Theodore. Um, uh, there is a fun story about Theodore, who became Hardin.
right,
Houdini and he were really pals. They were really, really pals. Um, and in fact, they worked together as the Houdini brothers in the early days.
right,
And so Houdini was doing some major event where he's hanging off of a tall building, getting out of a straitjacket escape. And there's Hardin on the sidewalk. He's supposed to be handing out flyers for Houdini's show. And he's
mm-hmm,
handing out flyers that says, "Come see the great Hardin." And he's yelling, "Come see the great Hardin." And he's pointing up at Houdini up there. Well, he thought it was hilarious because the show, they were not having a problem selling tickets. The
right.
ticket sales were fine. And so when Houdini came down, he sees it. He wouldn't even talk to me for a long time after that. He didn't think it was funny at all. But hopefully, but actually Houdini died in his brother's arms when he
Yeah,
did finally die. So
yeah,
they were really, really close friends. Um, the whole Houdini story is amazing. For instance, like people don't know that when the world went to war, Houdini signed up for the draft. They didn't take him because he was older, and they said, no, that wouldn't make sense to have someone your age in battle. We don't do that. And so Houdini started an organization called the Benevolent Sons of Rabbis and Cantors.
oh, wow,
And people that you'd recognize, Irving Berlin, Al Jolson, the Three Stooges, all these people that were big names in show business, they all joined that organization. Now, remember, ticket prices were 25 cents to go to any theater. Those guys raised $8,000 in a short amount of time to give to the Red Cross in America, in Europe, and to go for the all the people that were displaced by the war, that their families were totally displaced by the war. So in the Jewish faith, I've learned a lot from the Jewish groups that come to visit here. And the cool thing is, I didn't know it at the beginning, but I found out that when a family comes through, like um, a Hasidic Jewish family, um, they usually have somebody that's either a rabbi or could be that brainiac person that does knows all the knowledge. And so I every time I say, "Now, is your rabbi with you?" And they'll point out who their rabbi is, and I say, "Can I have them for another 10, 15, 20 minutes or 2 hours after you guys are done?" And they go, and they giggle and they say, "Yeah, no problem." So I've asked a lot of questions about the Jewish traditions to see if any of that matches with Houdini, because there's questions that I've had my whole life. And some of them were easily answered by knowing how to speak Hebrew. And for instance, I don't have it nearby. Let me see. Um, there is I get the picture 1 second.
You look good, Dick.
Ah,
Here I come.
here she comes.
We got parts. We got parts. So this is, if you have not seen it, it's an incredible gravesite. Uh,
Wow.
very, very few people have this much presence in any cemetery. He bought 23 plots so that if anybody in the family wanted to be buried there, they could be. And this is his grave marker.
Mhm.
And you'll notice there that his wife has a plot that has her name on that, but the date is not filled in because when she was dying, the plan was she was going to be buried with her husband, and she was in California. Her sisters came to stay with her and help her at the end of her days, and said, "Let's take the train back to New York." And she assumes she's going to be buried with her husband. Well, the sisters, the train stopped at a place, and I don't know what the name of the town was, but it was near Needles, California. And that was a trick that was one of Houdini's favorite tricks, was just needles, where he would swallow the needles in the thread and have her grab the thread and take it across the stage. He
Yeah.
loved that trick because it's a pocket trick that can play for 10,000 people. He was like, he loved it. So her family, her sisters, the Christian part of the family, decided on their own, and we found this in a radio interview just recently, that they decided that it probably would not be um, eh, that they felt that the Christian family would be very heartbroken if she was buried in a Jewish cemetery, because there's that religious thing. And so that's kind of sad. So the question I have is,
That is very sad. Yeah.
yeah, anybody have a
Yeah.
shovel? We could go bring her over. Never mind.
If
I
it
think,
were, if it were the most heartbreaking
yeah, it's
thing I've
heartbreaking.
ever heard.
Yeah, it is. And you know what? First of all, don't think about digging her up. You're not allowed to do that. You'll go to jail if you get caught doing that. So don't even think about it. But so yeah, so she was buried at Gate of Heaven Cemetery, upstate New York. So they're not together. Now on the grave, um, that big monument in the back, which by the way needs a lot of help. We need
Yeah.
donations. We have a Houdini gravesite corporation now, which is nonprofit, which means any money that you donate is tax deductible. There's a lot of work that needs to be done there, and it all costs money, sadly. Now, on the left side of the monument was a what do you call it? A memorial plaque like this for mother and grandmother. And then this is the one on the opposite side, and that is honoring father and grandfather. But it's written in Hebrew. And
Right.
I was like, okay, how am I going to get past that? And so when we get the Jewish groups in, I started having every rabbi read that to me, read
Mm-hmm.
that, translate it, because there are people could have different versions of what they think the truth is,
Right.
and in life in general. So
Yeah.
it turns out that it says that Houdini's father was Mayor Samuel Weiss Levy. So they were Levy family, and the grandfather's name was Moshe Shvi Levy, and that means Moses, Shvi, or Hirsch, or Herschel, which also could be translated to Harry. And because people told me when I was a kid, I'd say, well, where did he get the name Harry from? Did he use that? And some said, oh, that he took it from Harry Keller. Well, you don't take your friend's name.
Right.
That's silly. And as a kid, I never said, oh, yeah, it's probably not that. I just said, okay, thanks, and just went on and kept doing more research. Well, it bothered me because I thought, most of the people, the elders would say, well, his real name was Eric, and his
Mhm.
mom called him Airy. And
Right.
so Airy sounds like Harry. So he
Yeah.
took Harry. And I said,
That's
I think Airy is adorable. if I were him and that was the reason for picking the name, I would pick the one that Mama loved, and that would be because Harry is common. Airy
right,
is not.
right.
So I thought, why? And so all of my life, I kept trying to ask elders and ask this one and that one. So finally, I asked the Jewish people to translate because I didn't know what that said on the marker. And so that was a real revelation for me. And then the other thing that I wanted to tell you was this is when he did the water torture cell. Now, this is not his water torture cell. This is mine.
Right.
By the way, don't anybody even consider doing a metal can escape. Don't. It's not a good idea. There's so many things that can go wrong.
Yeah.
Uh, in this, yeah, you could lose your life easily.
Yeah.
In
Uh-oh.
go.
You still there? Hmm. I bet you her battery died.
Oh, what?
Oh, you still there? Can you hear me?
Hello. Uh-oh.
Hi. We lost your picture.
Safe driving mode.
Oh,
There we
there
go.
we
How's that?
go.
Can you
Okay.
see me now? All right.
Yep.
So did you see the thing?
Oh my. Yes.
So it says 18 chairs. And I thought, holy cow, there's most stages I performed on, there's not even room for 18 chairs.
Right.
And I thought, why 18? So then I found out in the Jewish tradition, 18 means chai, which is life. And so isn't
Right.
that cute? Like when they say L'chaim, that
Oh,
means
hi.
to
Yeah.
life. And so
Uh,
Houdini was superstitious. He didn't want to die. So he put 18 chairs on the stage.
oh.
So that's fun. That's just
Yeah.
a fun fact. I don't
Yeah.
know if anybody, if I ever told you this, but we got a package in the mail one day,
Hmm.
and it was that it's a box of ashes.
Oh my.
Does anybody know a magician um, named Ronald Lane something? And how do I remove? I wonder if I use a dry marker, if that would remove the.
Right. It depends on how shiny the label is, but
Uh-huh.
it might take some of it off. Wow.
So
I
it came, this is crazy. We got it in the mail and it had a little note that said, with a poem, a handwritten poem, and it said, read this poem while you're sprinkling his ashes on Houdini's gravesite. And I said, this is creepy as hell. I never heard, this is nuts. Nobody called and said they're doing it. That just gets in the mail. There it is. And
wow.
so I started asking everybody what to do, and everybody said, "So throw it away or just send it back in the mail." I said,
Yeah.
if I
Yeah.
put it back in the mail, it's going to go in the dead mail file. So
Yeah.
that guy in the box wanted to be, sprinkled by Houdini. He's not sprinkled by Houdini. He's living in the Houdini Museum.
Right.
So if that's what the goal was, because you cannot sprinkle ashes, you're not supposed to be cremated in the Jewish faith. And
Right.
so it's also really irreverent to sprinkle somebody else's ashes on
Right.
on
Yeah.
somebody's gravesite.
I wouldn't want it.
No, why would you want that? So that's what it is. So Ronald is here. So when you come visit, just ask to visit with Ronald.
Yeah.
He's a
Yeah.
Houdini fan.
Yeah. Ellen heard me earlier. I definitely need to come out and visit you guys like before the end of the summer. Because I've never been to your museum, and I keep meaning to Let's do
Well,
it.
do it while we're all still alive, you know?
Yeah, I know. I know. Well,
Yeah. Oh, this
yeah.
is another one that people don't know about. Um, when there's so many really good things about Houdini that we can all be proud of. Because he was more than just a magician and goofball magician. We're all goofballs, but this guy actually cared. In 1921, he had heard about these deep sea divers losing their lives in those heavy diving suits because
Right.
if the cable, the either the cable that they pull you up and down with, if that gets caught in the coral reef, or if the the air hose gets broken on the way,
Mm-hmm.
it takes too long for them to get another diver dressed up to send them down to rescue the one that's in the bottom. So they were losing their lives. So he had this designed with a quick release on it and patented. And
Mm-hmm.
then I found
Mm-hmm.
out when we went to visit um, the Library of Congress that he donated the patent to the Department of Navy, so the world would have it. He didn't want to raise money for
Right.
himself. He wanted he wanted to save lives. He wanted
Right.
it to be out there for the world. The Trying to think, there was another thing that um, the sons of rabbis and cantors, the people that we find were members of that organization were also Masons. And that's a charitable organization that helps out with all kinds of people in need. And they've even reached out to us and said, let me know if there's anything that we can do. And probably we're at a point now where we probably should communicate with somebody in that organization and say, what actually can you do? Because the business is not picking up since the pandemic. It's really uh, not coming back. And I think what could help is to get somebody that understands the modern media, you know, because the advertising does not work like it used to.
Mm-hmm.
And people are not responding to, we do get customers, but nothing like it was before the
Yeah.
pandemic. So
Yeah.
that's really, it's sad. It's really sad. Oh, and
Mm.
did I show you those things, that other things from Houdini's house, that cabinet? Ooh, there it is.
Yeah.
That cabinet up there, that clock, the
Wow.
gramophone,
Right.
and that telephone right there in the picture is right here inside the cabinet.
Wow.
And then inside, do you see where that paper plate is?
Yeah.
That was from the final seance that Beatrice did. And
Oh wow.
I have a reproduction here that is autographed by the people that were at that seance. And how that even lasted, I don't know, because you see it just looks like an old plate, and why is it still here, you know? But the signatures on the outside are new. The ones in the middle are from the actual seance.
Okay.
And so you'll see there's Beatrice Houdini,
Yeah.
Jack Young,
Mm.
Edward Saint, and so the funny thing is, I get over the years we've gotten people that say, "Oh, my grandfather was at that final séance," and then
Right.
I say, "Oh, that's cool. That very cool. What was their name?" And then when you try to, if their name's not on that plate,
Wait. Yeah.
I'm suspicious. But then some people, when I ask them, um, how old is your relative? They weren't even
Wait. Good
born.
enough one yet. Yeah.
Yeah, they weren't even born in time to have been
Yeah.
there, but they might have been to some other event that was confused with something. But I
Right.
don't think,
Right.
in general, I don't think people are liars about the history. Somebody told them and they just repeat it.
Right.
But did I show you? I don't remember if this is something I showed you before we started the meeting, but that, you see that prayer shawl there?
Right. Yeah.
That was in their house. That was from their house. That's another thing. Now that was probably these probably were covering the Torah,
Yeah.
and then that's a prayer shawl over there. That belonged to his father, the rabbi,
Right. Wow.
and that's the the beer barrel challenge. He had stopped doing beer challenges as of 19 uh 12 because of how sick he was, because when you're submerging your whole body in a vat of anything with alcohol in it, you're drinking it through all of your pores. So
Right.
he was sick after that, and he didn't drink. So for him, that was a big mistake. So
Wow.
when he came to Scranton, the Standard Brewery folks had heard about this beer challenge that he's not going to do, and they thought, "Yee, they'll have to give me the money then," which was $100 if he couldn't escape from your thing. And and so he tried to talk them out of it. They said, "Yeah, well, no, you can just give us the $100. You don't have to do it. Just give us the $100." And so he ended up doing it one more time in Scranton in 1915. But you'll notice that poster is his final poster of his last show. And it was, he called it the 3-in-1, which was part magic and illusion, and then an escape. And then at the end, he would do a whole demo of how the spirits, do spirits return? Houdini says no and proves it. Now, when he died, the end of his life, he was performing in Canada at the Princess Theater,
Okay.
and whenever he traveled, he would try to schedule a lecture with local colleges so that he could educate the students about the mediums, and so that their family is not taken advantage of, and so that those kids get to get their inheritance. Because if they get suckered in by the mediums, those kids, those college kids, are not going to get their inheritance, because the mediums were making the families sign the will that says that they will get everything, the medium will get everything that the family has. And so the cool thing is, I have the actual script from that lecture, and I also have the slides from that lecture, so I can go out and do that presentation and give that talk. I have to have some time off that I have nothing else to do, and put it together so that it's exciting. But that's an interesting project that we can get together with folks about. And then also the Houdini film is wonderful. Then I had another thought that I just lost. Um, the Houdini seance that we do, we generally, it doesn't have to be any particular place. Um, we actually could go anywhere in the world to do it that we feel is appropriate. The main thing is, we don't want people that are so like hucksters that want to sell something, you know,
Yeah. Yeah.
because
Yeah.
that's not what it's about. It's about somebody with a genuine heart that thinks they'd like to communicate with Houdini, and he's there. Um, Trying to see if there's anything that I missed out. Oh, sadly, there is. I showed you the. Did I show you the printing plates inside the cabinet? Those were all that plates that he would send to newspapers and magazines, um,
Oh wow.
for articles. And
Yeah.
then see that picture of that printing plate.
Mm-hmm.
That sadly was in the collection, and it's gone. Somebody stole it.
Oh.
And so if you see that one, and it's an image of Houdini, let's see, it is, let's see if I can grab it. There's some images of Houdini that are really cool. By the way, um, yeah, it looks like that.
Okay. Mm-hmm.
So, but it looks like those. It's a, wood
Right.
and metal
Yeah.
plate. And so if anybody sees that, tell them you'd like to buy it and how much they want for it,
Okay.
and then suggest that they put it up at auction because you'll get the most money for it. And if they do that, the auctioneers know that that one's stolen, so they'll be nice to them and say, "Oh yeah, yeah, we can sell that for you."
Mm-hmm.
And then say,
And
"Yeah,
then,
get it to us, and we'll put it in the next catalog." And then let the people know, by the way, it's not going in the catalog, it's going back to the museum.
right.
And
Good.
you're going to get a visit from the police.
Good.
But I hope that happens because they can't they can't
Yeah.
sell it. They can't even show anybody they have it.
Yeah.
It's the only one there is. It's
Yeah.
crazy.
Yeah.
And
Wow.
it's heartbreaking, you know.
It is. Yeah. Sure. Yeah. Dorothy, I think it might be time to close for today, but I would love if you could come back again, um, and not let's not make it like another 2 years. I think it's been almost three since the last time you were on with me. Um, but it's been really great uh, seeing you guys and seeing all the museum pieces. And I want to thank you for being here today.
Yeah,
Uh,
thank everybody.
yeah.
Yeah, I hope everybody's was entertained. I just realized I didn't show you this. See that poster? That's the
Yeah.
only thing that I found with Houdini. You know, see how it says Madame Houdini?
Oh, wow. Yeah. Mm-hmm.
Yeah, she when Houdini died, she thought she was lost. She didn't know what the heck to do.
Right.
So she thought she would go out and do shows as the female magician, you know, Houdini's wife, the magician. And honestly, she was always the assistant. She wasn't the front person. She was the gal in the back, you know.
Right.
So that was not working. But that was why this guy was really good, Edward Saint. He really gave her a good goals to go for. He said the world isn't interested in Houdini's magic. They're interested in your story about what it was like to
Mm-hmm.
be traveling with this incredible human being for your whole life. Like tell
So,
that
so,
story.
so what was his, Edward Fink, what was his relationship to Houdini
He
and,
was
and
just a showbiz. He's just a showbiz guy.
okay.
That was just happened to be around at the time and saw an opportunity to help her out. And honestly, it gave him some kudos as well.
Right.
But I don't think he took advantage of her. I think he just really gave her purpose um, at a time when she was absolutely, you can imagine living with a legendary person like Houdini your whole life, and now he's gone. Now what?
Yeah. Yeah. Wow. Thank you so much, guys. I really appreciate you being here. I don't know if you have to leave right away, but we we tend to hang out a little bit after the show. So you're more than welcome to. But if you have to leave, that's fine too. But for right now, I'm going to put you in the background just for a minute, and then we can say goodbye uh, after the show. But ladies and gentlemen, the wonderful Dorothy Dietrich and Jeff Brooks. And yep, that's right. um, yeah. Um, we, come on. Oh, my mouse died. No. Are
No.
you kidding me? No. All right. Sorry. Uh,
You gotta stand on one foot and hop around.
exactly. Exactly.
That'll make it work.
If Houdini's spirit is messing with me.
Is that Houdini giving us a sign he doesn't want you to quit?
Exactly. Probably. I mean, I don't want to quit either, but and my first podcast that you were on, um, we went on for like almost 3 hours, and it was great. But some people were like, "I think you need to condense it a little bit." So I try and keep it around an hour, and we've gone an hour and a half. So I think that's really perfect. Um, and again, we'll have to come back again. But next week, next Friday is my birthday. And
Yay.
so next Saturday, I have a special guest coming in to be the host and will interview me for a change. So if you have anything else to do, that would be a good day to do it. No, it should be a lot of fun. And yeah, so that's what we're doing next time. Once again, thank you to Dorothy Dietrich and Jeff Brooks. And remember to keep it strange. Right? Keep it strange, and I will see you next time.
You've been watching Beyond Belief with your host, Tommy Burnett. Thank you to Dorothy Dietrich. See you next time. Next week's guest is Tommy Burnett, Saturday, June 13th at 4 p.m. Eastern Time.
Well, that was fun.
Oh, come on.
Did you get it working?
Yeah, I think so.